Two brothers, blessed with the best the world has to offer, are now putting their lives on the line. 49 days ago, Russian tyrant Vladimir Putin waged his war on Ukraine, plunging the country into destruction and despair. Ever since, thousands of innocent men, women, and children have endured torture, rape, and murder. Vitali and Wladimir Klitschko have witnessed the devastation firsthand. Vitali, the mayor of Ukraine's capital city of Kyiv and a former heavyweight world champion boxer. His brother Vladimir, also a heavyweight championship boxer who once lived in a multi-million-dollar mansion and has dated Hollywood movie stars, but now their lives are vastly different. Both now in the fight of their lives, and both have strapped guns to their backs to protect their loved ones, to protect their motherland. And both say Joe Biden isn't doing enough to support their country in the most desperate of times. This isn't about defending Ukraine, but rather Ukraine is fighting for the world. Vitali, are you in contact with Zelensky? Have you coordinated with Zelensky on the defense of Kyiv and maybe others? How is that communication going with the president?
We communicate with President regarding whole situation, but the military experts is responsible to defend Kyiv. I am responsible for service for Kyiv citizens. We have electricity, water, all heating, all communication, transport, communal transportation, and a lot of things. Yes, of course, we help also for Ukrainian forces.
All right, Vladimir, tell me a little bit about May 9th. May 9th is coming up. It's known as Victory Day in Russia. It was a day that Russia declared victory over the Nazis in Germany. And all through this whole attack by that madman Putin on Ukraine, he said he's trying to denazify or a denazification of Ukraine. May 9th is an important date. Are there any options there? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we are in a war on day 49 today. And the war is just horrible, that destroys infrastructure, kills, murders, rapes, tortures our civilians. And there are lots of matter of facts that such terrifying things been done by the Russian army due to our civilian population. In the south of the country, in Mariupol, where while we're speaking, fights are going on, and thousands of civilians. It's impossible to count how many lives been lost. It's just as horrifying as it could be that people are still being killed, and as I said, murdered, raped, and tortured. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, Vladimir, but yes, there have been reports. We've seen the pictures. I believe I'm being sent Russian propaganda where there are people who are sending me things saying that it's the Ukrainians who are dropping bombs on the theater in Bucha and other things, and maybe even attacking the Chernobyl plant as well. Please put this to rest. You've seen these atrocities. Have you seen victims of Russian atrocities with your own eyes, Vladimir?
Yes, I've seen too many dead bodies in Bucha, Gostomel, as right after Russian forces left those cities, which are in the skirts of the capital. And those images terrify. It's just terrifying images. It's just horror here on the planet Earth. And just seeing those civilians with tied hands behind their back, and you could see they were executed with the headshots. And there are multiple of them in the underground of the house, on the streets, between the buildings, on the roads, in the cars. On those cars, you've seen families. You see family of a husband and a wife and children, and you could see that this car was hammered or rolled over by a tank, and half of this car or completely car just flattened, and you still have remains of human bodies in that car.
Including women and children? Including women and children?
Including women, children, elderly men that were on the bike, and you could see the person was just driving home with a bag of potatoes. And I believe all this crime has first name, last name who've done it, and it's been documented. And justice will come for everyone who've done it. Eventually, international court will give the justice. And it's difficult to say protect the innocent because they've been murdered already. But at least, in the end of the day, because every war has the beginning and every war has the end. But in the end, the justice will come.
Well, let's talk to Vitali, mayor of Kyiv, for a second here. Does the Biden, do they understand what's going on here? Do you think the president of the United States understands the magnitude of what's going on in Ukraine, the protection of a global democracy? And is he doing enough? And we just heard the reports today that they're pulling back the Mi-17 helicopters for some reason. We don't know why. What's your message to the U.S. president and our Defense Department?
To be honest, it's difficult to understand how horrible situation in our city. It's Bucha, Gostomel, Irpin, Borodyanka, totally destroyed the building and destroyed the life of the people, and people homeless right now. They doesn't have homes anymore. The lives of millions of Ukrainians right now is destroyed. It's difficult to feel that from TV screen or from newspaper. It's to be present there and to see that, to feel the smoke, to see the body.
Pardon me, I don't mean to interrupt, sir, but my question, I really want to get to this, is because my audience is very upset. My audience is in your favor, is on your side. They believe what you're doing is the right way to go about things. My audience also feels that what the Biden administration is doing is not enough, and not fast enough, and not quick enough, and not forceful enough, and not enough deadly weapons, like getting those MiG jets from Poland to you, or like sending you those Mi-17 helicopters. Are you okay with where the United States and NATO are on helping you defend yourself?
Can I remind before the war started, world leaders, including U.S. President, said if Russia will cross the line and invade Ukraine, the consequences are going to be severe. Unfortunately, for the past 49 days, severe consequences been taken by the Ukrainian population. And just to observe all the devastation, killing, and all the loss of infrastructure as well, it just shows that we definitely need support from the United States. And we need support on two main points: weapons and isolation, economical isolation of Russia. Oil and gas embargo, for instance. Isolation where you cannot trade with Russia, because when you trade with Russia, Russia is getting money in their budget. So the budget is going to be filled up. So more weapons are going to be bought and more soldiers are going to be paid, that today killing us here in Ukraine, killing us Ukrainians.
If you ask enough or not, we see right now it's never enough. We need more. We need more. We want to say thank you very much for support. Thank you very much for the help with defensive weapons, but it's not enough, because we need defensive weapons, because we defend our country.
We agree. Guys, I note that that Zelensky was very, very strong. He went to our U.S. Congress and didn't say we need more. He pointed the finger at U.S. Congress, saying you can't sit by. If you sit by, you're part of the problem. You're exacerbating Putin's attack on democracies around the world. I understand that it's a tightrope. You have to play a little bit of a game. You don't want to piss off the American president, but man, you guys are being fired on. Let me ask you this, both of you guys. You're in the middle of the war. maybe Vladimir, you can add, you gave up, you came over there to defend your country, your brother, your cities. Have you shot at Russians? Have either one of you shot a gun at Russians, or have you been shot at by Russians?
No, we have not been involved in actual fighting. And I'm a member of territorial defense of city of Kiev. And as you know, Russian forces never entered, their rockets entered the capital and murdered our civilians, but we were not involved in fighting.
But it's difficult to say involved or not, but Russians rockets above our heads flying in our city and exploding the apartments buildings and kill the people. And it's everyone citizens of our city is target of Russian aggressors.
Yeah. Okay. Vitali, let me ask you this. You're mayor of Kyiv. The mayor of Moscow, his name is Sergei Sobyanin. Mayor to mayor, what would you say to that mayor?
The Russians zoned from propaganda. I have a lot of friends in Russia. I talk to them. It's very educated people. It's actually very smart, but they repeat exactly the same messages what they listen from the Russian media. Never believe Russian media. And what I said to Sobyanin, he ready to send his children to Ukraine. Have children, they send the children to the war? I guess not. It's he's ready to fight. They talking about Nazis, radicals, extremists, nationalists, fascists. It's not. We are together with brothers. It's half of our blood is Russians' blood because our mom is Russians. It's everything what told the Russian propaganda. It's everything is liar. And Sobyanin just one of the part of this aggression. Everyone who keep his mouth closed, participate in this war, support this war. It's genocide of Ukrainian population.
Mm-hmm. Vladimir, you were on with me a couple of weeks ago, and I asked you about a very popular U.S. cable host. I'm not going to name his name again because every time I do, everyone attacks me because I'm conservative. He's conservative, but he's on the other side. He said, and literally a couple of nights ago, he said, well, this war in Ukraine is not black and white. And it kind of scratched my head, and I said, well, of course it's black and white. I'm seeing dead bodies, children, women in the streets. I'm seeing hospitals, schools being bombed by Russians. I'm not seeing it in Russia or Moscow or St. Petersburg. I'm seeing it in Kyiv and Mariupol and Bucha. So it's very black and white to me what's going on there, but it's not black and white to him. Can I just re-ask you again, Vladimir, to those Americans who are watching this who may not understand what's at stake here, what is your message to these high-profile people who are on television talking to so many people, and what's your message to the American people?
Look, I've been living in the U.S. and working in the U.S. in Nashville, Tennessee, Hollywood, Florida. My daughter was born in Honolulu and in Hawaii, and I know what life is in the U.S. and it's well protected, and you don't hear the bombings, and you don't see dead bodies in the amount that you cannot imagine. What we've seen in skirts of the city of the capital in Ukraine. War is horrifying. And I just want to say that if you don't support the same values that we're fighting here for, and we're fighting for democratical values, for freedom of our choice and the way we want to live our life, then you're a part of it. If you're passively just observing, you are part of it. You're helping, actually, and if
Vitali,
you trade with Russia,
Vitali, I know
continue
you guys you're on tight constraints, and I know, Vitali, you're getting involved, and you have a lot of work to do as mayor of Kyiv. Vitali, same question to you. To the Americans who aren't sure that it's the right thing to get behind you in this conflict, in this war, this attack on democracy and the people, the innocent people of Ukraine, to the American, including the American popular TV hosts, cable TV hosts, who call it's not black and white to them. What is your final thought here, Vitali?
It's today, world is black and white. You support Russia or you support Ukraine. You support war or you support peace. And if someone in the United States thinks it's war somewhere far away from you, it doesn't touch you, is wrong opinion. We defend not just our families and our children, we defend the same values and principle, democratic principle, because we want to build democratic, modern Ukraine. And Putin wants to build authoritarianism, big Russian empire. We was in USSR and we don't want back to USSR. And that's why, please, a message to everyone, be proactive. Stay with Ukraine is a key. Bring the peace back to Europe, back to Ukraine. It's very important to have support for our country, because from our win depend a lot of things in Europe and everywhere in the world, and everyone have to understand that. Mm-hmm. We're fighting not for ourselves, not for our country, we're fighting also for you.
Very, very important. Final question, Vitali, I'll start with you, both of you guys. If Putin feels like he's not winning, or not winning fast enough, or taking on too many losses, do you believe he will use a nuclear option on Ukraine? Vitali, you first.
Nobody believes Putin make an action of Crimea and Lugansk, Donetsk. Nobody believes Putin make aggression against Ukraine and make a war, but he's sick. It can make this war healthy man. He's unhealthy, and that's why it's possible. He's sick. It's possible to use the chemical weapons, to use nuclear weapons also, and that's why this war can touch everyone. And we have to stop the war. Definitely to stop the war soon as possible.
What about you, Vladimir? Final thought?
Zaporizhia is under Russian invasion right now, and this is nuclear power plant, one of the largest in Europe, and this one of the largest European power plant has been held as a hostage. Same power plant 10 days ago was on fire. There is no leakage for right now of any nuclear stuff, but the danger that one of those 2,000 rockets that have been already launched and landed in Ukraine from Belarusian and Russian side, there's no guarantee that just by, so to speak, an accident, equivalent of one of the 5 major power plants, nuclear power plants that we have in Ukraine. If not directly shoot a missile, then accidentally, God forbid, something like that could happen, and one of them is gonna explode, and unfortunately, then it's gonna be a disaster. Chernobyl and Fukushima multiple times, and that cannot be underestimated either. So protect Ukraine, save Ukraine, because Ukraine delivers a lot and has a lot, and just by an accident or especially could be destroyed. The world could be destroyed.
All right. Well, we're going to leave it right there. Vitali Klitschko, Wladimir Klitschko. Be safe, my friends. We are watching, and we are with you.
Stay with Ukraine.
Keep supporting us. Thank you.